Welcome to Airborne-Unlimited, coming to you from the Seaplane Base at Oshkosh 2023. I'm your host, Holland Lee. Here's what's coming up on today's show. We check out Opener's Blackfly, the good, the bad, and the Super Guppy. Murphy Aircraft is back in force. These stories and more coming up on today's special edition of Airborne-Unlimited. First, we check out Opener's Blackfly, another unique airframe. People flock to Oshkosh from all over the world to see the latest and greatest in aviation innovation and design, and the Opener Blackfly definitely gets attention.
What do we have behind us here? Tell me a little bit about this particular aircraft.
So this is the Blackfly. It's been in development for over a decade. It's gone through 3 complete generations design turns from top to bottom. So it's actually been a maturing aircraft for quite some time now. We've now got probably 24 vehicles that have been built and flown. We've reached a point in training people to operate it where we're up close to 20 people who have been trained to operate the vehicle and have taken it up and flown it on their own.
What are some of the advancements that you've seen in Opener most recently?
Most recently we've matured the amphibious capability of the vehicle. So you might notice a little change to its profile. We've actually got these outrigger wing floats that are a little more pronounced than anything we've had before. We look at it from a safety and from a product liability point of view, that it's not a water toy, it's not a seaplane, it's an eVTOL, and treat it with care. But that capability of landing safely in the water is just another way that we're delivering capability and safety to our operators, which we put number one. But this is an aero architecture, so tilt aircraft eVTOL that has utility beyond this very, very personal transit mission that we're pursuing in Part 103. We're looking at manned, unmanned, and manned-unmanned teaming, all as technologies that can be integrated with a tilt aircraft eVTOL to fulfill a wide range of missions and utilities, from firefighting to medevac and many more.
Tim, I understand you're the owner now of an Blackfly. Is that true?
I am. I took delivery in June.
With the purchase of this, what's your next opportunity you're looking for?
I'll just stick with this and see what happens next. It's the big step forward, and I have a lot of faith in the company and how it's going to expand to more opportunities and more capabilities.
The good, the bad, and the Super Guppy. It looks like it ate a DC-9, but the Super Guppy is an unconventional, hard-working airplane that dropped into Oshkosh to show one and all a different side of the aviation workforce.
So I'm an engineer actually for the airplane. I'm not aircrew, but I support it, whether it's modifications, payload integration, repairs, upgrades, and all that. Everything is very interconnected. Whenever we do an upgrade on the airplane, we bring in flight ops, maintenance, quality, safety. That way we ensure that we get all the stakeholders at the table and that we don't do something without forgetting a specific piece. So, for example, we were to upgrade the inner communication system in the airplane. We want to ensure that the pilots know how it's going to operate and that we don't leave out any functions that they would need, right? Because they are the pilots, they're the experts in that system, and we support them. But if we decide to move forward without incorporating their input, we might forget to have them talk to a specific channel, or we may forget a warning system. So we are always very interconnected, and we take everybody's viewpoints into consideration when we do the work. This is mostly maintenance. When we do innovation is when we integrate payloads. So the amount of payloads that we get, they vary in size, weight, configuration, and so we need to ensure that we restrain it properly. Sometimes they need environmental control systems, and we need to ensure that that is taken care of. If there's stored energy systems, such as springs, batteries, or any gases, we need to ensure that that's safe. So it really is a mix.
So we're doing the flight engineer pre-flight. It's we walk around, do an inspection of critical components to make sure they're in place. Everything is where it needs to be. We have 4 propellers, but particularly this pre-flight took a little bit longer because we're looking for FOD, basically any kind of cups or anything that's been stuffed inside the wheel well from the Airshow. So a good inspection of the aircraft before we take off. I think the most important thing is the Artemis program. We're going to go back to the moon and the Guppy plays a huge part in that. Moving the Orion, moving the heat shield, just supporting that program is the biggest part for America. We're putting the first female and the first man or woman of color back on the moon.
Murphy Aircraft is back in force. Over the years, the ANN crew, especially Jim Campbell, has flown just about everything this company has built and approves. Now, with new direction, the Murphy gang is back on the job. The display included a few of the Murphy Moose generation, one attached to a PT-6.
Yeah, this is the monster backcountry airplane in the experimental world, and especially with the PT-6 turbine engine on the front. There's really nothing else like it. If you wanted this kind of performance, you'd have to step up to a Turbine Beaver or a Kodiak, which is out of most of our price ranges. So I decided to try and develop a turbine package for this incredible airplane that would make it affordable for not everybody, but at least make it more affordable to a lot of pilots.
What kind of numbers are you getting out of it?
So we're at cruise, we're getting 200 miles per hour true airspeed up at 12,500 feet. On about 25 gallons per hour of Jet A. And you know, Jet A is typically less expensive than 100 low lead. I had the M14 radial engine on this airplane and I was burning 20 gallons an hour. So, you know, I'm burning a little more gas, but I'm going a lot faster. So it's all relative. I enjoy flying the backcountry of Idaho, and I've sat behind turboprops for probably 15,000 hours, and I just really enjoy the dependability, the low maintenance, and the reliability of that engine. You just can't beat it. We do the firewall forward conversion. It's not as much as a lot of people think. A lot of people have come up to the show. Some have just walked by and go, I can't afford that. So I should have put a sign on it. But we're doing a firewall forward with a prop. And then there's a couple of options that might vary the price slightly, but it is right at $250,000 right now. Really? Yes. I know.
Okay, that is surprising. You get to put the T word in front of anything,
right?
And we're talking megabucks.
Exactly, yeah. But the Dash 20 engine, which is a fantastic engine, there's quite a few of them out there in the used market, and so these are mid-time engines. But for most of us that fly only 100 hours a year, it's going to last a long time.
And coming up after these messages, a big uAvionix update.
Martha, do you know how many years we've been going to Oshkosh for AirVenture?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, John, but I am glad you brought that up. We're coming up on the 50th anniversary of King Schools.
What are we going to do to celebrate?
First of all, we're heading back to Oshkosh for AirVenture to have fun with all of our aviation friends. Plus, you can take 23% off any King Schools course. Just use the code words 50 years at kingschools.com, or you can call us and use the same code words 50 years.
Welcome back. If you've seen something especially cool around Oshkosh so far this year, we'd love to check it out. Just post it with hashtag Osh23Cool. Now, a big uAvionix update. uAvionix's Brit Wanick warned us a few weeks back that they were prepping some serious new addition to a constantly evolving product line, and he wasn't fibbing.
We're excited. We've got 3 new products that we're bringing into the market. AVHSI, which provides the IFR capabilities that many have been asking for. AVAPA, which is analog port adapter, brings in some autopilot integration that people have been asking for. And then we've got a new one, we'll call it RetroPilot, and it's kind of a unique way of providing electromechanical capabilities to fly the plane, and we think it's a novel way to really upgrade some of the older aircraft that are out there. So excited to have all 3 of them come in today and be a part of the show. We're going to have them on the market here soon. Obviously, certification comes a little bit of time after that, but we're excited to bring these in for our experimental customers as early and as fast as we can. Because we're all talking about things where we want to create this open, connected cockpit. You don't have to have everything that's uAvionix. We need you to have a few things, but we understand that most aircraft have a lot of other instruments and capabilities. We want to make sure you can integrate those and continue to fly the aircraft the way you want to. Retropile is really an opportunity to bring some unique capability to aircraft that might otherwise never have the opportunity to have an autopilot, essentially. And so the story behind it's pretty neat. 2 pilots flying back. One keeps having to adjust and fly the plane, looks over and realizes that it's actually a headset hanging on a yoke, and wow, it's actually weight from that that's causing the aircraft to adjust. So why don't we put that physics into practice? And so we've worked with what we know about the AV30 and a little bit of physics, and now we've got a weight control device that can essentially steer the aircraft for us. So this will do everything from wing leveling to GPS steering over time in coordination with the AV30. Yeah, it's a little bit unique, right? But you know, we've been innovative since the start, and this type of disruption we think is really important.
Samaritan Aviation adds yet another workhorse to their mission. There are great folks out there who use aviation to perform missions all over the world to serve others. Samaritan Aviation has just added a new aircraft to support their important work. That's why we're at the seaplane base today to find out more.
Samaritan Aviation, we're a Christian nonprofit, and we serve the remote communities of Papua New Guinea. And most people don't even know where that's at here in the States, but it's north of Australia. It's the second largest island in the world. Just on that the side that Papua New Guinea is on, which is half the island, there's 840 languages, over 12 million people, and it's considered one of the most remote communities in the world, kind of the last frontier. And we operate on a 700-mile river, offering access and hope to these villages. We serve 120 villages. And we turn a 3-day trip to the only hospital for these villagers into a 1-hour flight. These planes are usually 600,000 to 800,000 by the time we get all of the modifications done. We put about 100 into this one since it was donated to us because we add a lot of different mods from a bigger engine, a IO550F. We put an 86-inch seaplane prop on it, wing extensions, the Robertson Stoll kit, right-hand door, Aeroset floats. And we even just added a mod that allows the door to come open with the flaps down, which is a new mod that's just come out of Canada that will allow people or passengers to get out of the back door if you're upside down or the flaps are down. And then we do an interior that can be used for medevacs as well, which allows us to clean it up easily after the kind of work that we do. When I started the organization, a friend of mine, the goal was how can we turn a 3-day trip into a 1-hour flight? And number 2, could we do that and not charge the people for the flights? And you know, people said it couldn't be done. You can't operate a service over there. You can't raise enough money. And you know, we're on our 13th year. We've saved thousands of lives over there. We've delivered over 250,000 pounds of medical supplies to 40 different little aid posts out along the river. And we've saved through emergencies from earthquakes to measles, polio out even came back to Papua New Guinea a few years ago. And we've been able to do all that without charging anyone. And it's been amazing to see partners are here in the U.S. We have foundations, individuals. The Papua New Guinean government supports us at about 30% of our operating costs. So it's a partnership. And we've been able to do this service, react to emergencies, serve these people on a 700-mile river at no charge. And we're still doing it. This year we've already flown in over 200 patients this year already. And it's going to be the busiest year we've ever had. We use airplanes to make a difference. And that's a really cool thing. Those of us who are passionate about aviation, a lot of times it's about fun, and we all love airplanes and flying, but to be able to use this as a tool. You know, this isn't just a good tool to use over there. It's the only tool that'll do the job.
You had to be there. Oshkosh has been throwing night air shows for a while now, and they've gotten pretty good at it. And coming up after these messages, we continue with part 4 of our interview with Jack Pelton.
Flying is my entire life. It's all that I've ever known. I've relied on Hartzell propellers since about 1995. Hartzell means much more than a propeller. It's a relationship. When you hear the phrase built on honor, they care about us as pilots, they care about our community, and they care about the product they build. It's such a proud honor to fly behind that propeller.
Wouldn't it be nice to be accurate all the time? Our generation can trust their fuel gauge, can you? Here at SAIS, we are revolutionizing the world of aviation one aircraft at a time. We are committed to providing an accurate, safe, and reliable fuel level reading, as well as providing you with the highest level of service. Find out how you can fly with SAIS today.
Welcome back. Presented by our friends at GoGo Business Aviation, who keep aviation communicating through the flight levels, part 4 of our annual sit-down with Jack Pelton delves into what's happening with the FAA, the current lack of permanent leadership, and his advice for the future.
In light of everything that has occurred, and in light of, shall we say, a lack of stability in the FAA in regards to leadership and management and so forth, and it's been a while. We've had some really good people along the way, and we wish a few of them stuck around longer than they did. I'm surprised at how much I came to like Mike Huerta. His successor did a bang-up job, but probably did the smartest thing he could and got out of Washington while he could. And now we've been through, kind of a revolving door. And as we understand it now, Mike Whitaker looks to be the solid choice pending an actual announcement. But is the FAA in a position right now to truly manage aviation? Are we going to wind up with this kind of instability for a while? And more important, does a mid-level really have the capacity and the resources now to do what's needed to be done?
The answer to all of that is we should all be very concerned. I still think it's the number one pending issue. I had a chance to, I was tapped to go testify a few months ago back to the House Aviation Subcommittee.
Ooh, lucky you.
Yeah, and I feel it's the number one issue. We were talking about Mosaic and reauthorization, a lot of other things, and they are losing talent like you wouldn't believe, and at all levels, all locations, institutional knowledge, experience. And a lot of the executives that I talk to, one of the reasons, if they have the opportunity to retire, they're saying, I have lost confidence because I don't know who is going to direct this place and what the agenda will be and what direction they want to take it. And I'm very frustrated because that person is not in a position to make those choices. It has to come from the top, but there is no top. There's an acting person today who's still maintaining their job at DOT. So they've really got their foot in both camps. And if you think about it, as I came up from the bottom in companies in my career. You're always looking to the leadership to provide that guidance and reason to come in every day, motivated to do your job. And everybody's just taking a caretaking role. It's awful. This is the organization that controls our air safety, the NAS, our certification efforts to be able to be a global competitor. We got to grab a hold of it and get it under control now.
An esprit de corps that used to be part of the lower to mid-range of the FAA is long gone.
It is.
That's what I'm hearing. Mm-hmm. And we've got really good sources throughout everybody wants to, drop a dime on us, but it's gone. It really is. It's just disappeared.
The standard conversation I have with a lot of them are, I don't know, I'm gonna try to wait and see, but if this goes on for too long, I'm retiring. And it's across the board. And I don't think it's that hard to get fixed. I mean, You just got to find the leader and the candidates and get them up there and quit the politic BS.
It's not like there's not passionate people out there with the expertise.
Who are qualified, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that has to be fixed immediately. And I know I'm certainly pressing any elected officials that will listen to me is to, guys, get your act together and don't let this be political fodder for other issues. Go get it solved. It's a national issue.
What do you think of Whitaker?
I had a chance to get to know him when he worked for Administrator Horta. I was on Horta's Management Advisory Committee. I liked him. I thought he's very capable. He took the time in his stint there to get a private pilot's license and learn from
I'm talking to him about that.
Yeah, he really had a great experience of doing that, and I can't see anywhere where you would disqualify him. He's got experience. He's been with the airlines. He's done everything you need to do.
Well, if he can find himself if he can get the gig and find himself the right kind of lieutenants, we'll see what happens. We need it now.
We do.
And coming up tomorrow, thanks again to GoGo Business Aviation Support, we will present the final part of our interview tomorrow as Jack talks about the future of the EAA, his current thoughts about how long he expects to serve, and his advice for those who will take up the gauntlet in the future.
What would be the elements of somebody that you would look for to be a replacement? I think the number one that's has proved out is you do have to have somebody that has an understanding of EA culture. I don't think you can bring somebody in and have them learn that on the job. It would take too long, and it'd be. We've seen it in other associations where they got it but got it too late, and so we need somebody that has at least a grounding in that.
And that does it for us here, Day 4, Oshkosh 2023. If you're watching us on YouTube, please do subscribe and go check out our other social media. Don't forget you can get 24/7 coverage of all the latest aviation news at aero-news.net. We'll see you back here tomorrow.